Okay, welcome to, this is going to be a new series and it's going to be an ongoing series, and I'm just going to plainly call it Punk Magick. But to get started, let's start at the roots. So before we talk about magic, before we talk about spirits, spells or rituals, before we burn the rulebook, and we will, we need to talk about punk and anarchy. Because if those words only conjure images of mohawks, Molotov cocktails, or torn fishnets and slogans, you've already been sold a lie. What I'm about to say is not about costume, it's about consciousness. Punk magic is not a trend. It's not some edgy aesthetic witchcraft to dress up your Instagram profile. It's a system of spiritual resistance, a rejection of hierarchy, a tool of liberation. But to understand what makes punk magic different, you've got to understand what punk really stands for and why anarchy, far from being chaos, is actually sacred. Punk is not just a genre. Sure, punk rock is where the term landed in most people's minds, but punk itself, real punk, is not defined by the sound of a guitar. It's defined by rejection. Rejection of authority, rejection of social programming, rejection of the plastic illusions that were handed to us as normal. Punk exploded in the 1970s because people had had enough of consumerism, enough of empty promises, enough of being told to keep their heads down while the world burned. It wasn't polished because life wasn't polished. It was raw because raw was honest. No one needed to be a virtuoso. If you could play 3 chords and scream your truth, that was enough. Punk leveled the playing field, and that terrified the establishment. But even before the Sex Pistols or Crass, the attitude behind punk was already in the air. The working class, the queer and trans community, the disabled, the poor, the racialized, the criminalized, anyone who had been shoved to the outside of respectability. They were already living punk lives, already surviving against a system designed to crush them. Punk just gave the scream a soundtrack. And in that scream was the seed of something powerful, a kind of spiritual truth that no dogma could silence. Punk is DIY or die. You don't wait for permission. You don't sit around hoping someone will publish your words or put your band on the radio. You make your own. You build something with your own hands from scraps, if you have it. Zines photocopied in the middle of the night, gig flyers stapled to lampposts, t-shirts made with bleach and permanent markers. Punk has always been about agency. If the system shuts you out, you don't beg to let back in. You tear down the fence and make something better on the other side. And that's where we start to see the crossover with magic, because real magic, the kind that moves mountains, is also DIY. It's not just robes and rituals handed down from some secret society. It's the witch in the woods who never needed a book of shadows because she had dirt under her nails and curses in her breath. It's the street magician who doesn't own a wand but knows how to bend time with a pen and a wall. Punk taught us to stop waiting for the system to serve us, and magic, real magic, does the same thing. It gives us the tools to reshape reality, and it doesn't require a fucking certificate. Now let's clear up the biggest lie they ever sold you, that anarchy means chaos. It doesn't. Anarchy is not about destruction for destruction's sake. It's not about riots or lawlessness or wild-eyed madness. That's the propaganda they feed you, so you'll cling to the authority out of fear. Anarchy, at its core, is autonomy. It means no kings, no bosses, no masters. It means no one gets to control you just because they've got money or a badge or a pulpit. It means mutual aid, not charity. It means community, not command. It means that power should be shared, not hoarded, and that no one has the right to dominate another. Anarchists organize. They build libraries, not prisons, food kitchens, not corporations. They care for one another without coercion. They create networks, not chains. They resist hierarchy, not because they're chaotic, but because they believe in freedom. And if that doesn't sound spiritual to you, maybe you've been worshipping the wrong gods. This is where things get interesting, because underneath punk and anarchy is something that's always been there, whispering in the shadows: magic. Not ceremonial magic in the ivory towers, not watered down witchcraft in the gift shops. I'm talking about magic from the gutters, from the fringe, from the broken-hearted and rage-filled and soul-starved people who still refuse to die quietly. Folk magic, resistance magic, witchcraft that was criminalized because it refused to be tamed, the cunning folk, the root workers, the midwives, the hexers, the poisoners. Their magic was never about serving the ruling class, it was about survival, about justice, about power in the hands of the disenfranchised. That's the spiritual ancestor of punk magic. It's the spirit that says, you do not own me. The spirit that says, I will heal who I choose, curse who I must, and make something sacred out of what you threw away. It's not polite, it's not pretty, but it's real. So when I say that punk magic is rooted in punk and anarchy, I'm not talking theory, I'm talking lineage. You are not just the child of the witches, you are the descendant of rebels. And if your magic doesn't confront power, if it doesn't make the powerful uncomfortable, maybe you need to turn up the volume a bit. It leaves us at the crossroads, the one where you choose between being another cog in a dying machine or becoming something else entirely. Punk and anarchy offer us a blueprint, a system of action, a way to live without surrendering your soul to capitalism, patriarchy, empire, or any other altar that demands your silence. And that's what we build punk magic on. It's not just about casting spells for your personal comfort. It's using your will to resist, to disrupt, to dismantle. It's about standing in the ruins and saying, this time I make the rules. So now that we've stripped away the illusions and gotten to the marrow of what punk and anarchy really mean, it's time to build something on those bones. This is where the magic comes in. But before we start lighting candles or casting circles, we need to answer one question with honesty. What is punk magic? Because it's not a cute theme for your grimoire. It's not punk rock stickers on your tarot deck. Punk magic is not here to soothe your ego or help you manifest your dream house in a toxic world. Punk magic is war, it's medicine, it's survival. It's joy where joy is forbidden and power where power is denied. This is the beating heart of it. In some of the corrupted systems that we have today, power is vertical. There's always someone above you, a master, a high priestess, a grand magus, a guru. They gatekeep the mysteries and demand obedience for access. But punk magic, that shit is flat, horizontal, decentralized, the way witchcraft was intended. The only authority is your will and your integrity. You don't need an initiation. Your life is initiation enough. You've survived, you've resisted. You've carried grief and rage and ecstasy in your bones. That's more than enough to begin. Punk magic doesn't ask for permission. It stands barefoot on broken ground, breathes in the smoke of burning systems and calls that sacred. If the spirits come, we greet them as equals, not as slaves, not as beggars, as comrades, as co-conspirators, as fellow rebels against a rigged game. Let's get something straight. There is no correct way to do punk magic. There are no golden rules, no great work to be completed, no prescribed correspondences, no single cosmology, no moralized cosmic judges with clipboards. What there is need. What there is will. What there is fire. If it works, it works. If it liberates, it belongs. If it resists, it's sacred. You can write a sigil with a cigarette and a wall. You can do banishing with feedback from a guitar amp. You can turn your body into a talisman with ink and scar tissue. You can make a puppet out of trash and wire and spit and spite. This system isn't inherited, it's created. Every time you practice, every time you fight, you're building a new magical tradition that doesn't belong to anyone, and that's why it's powerful. Punk magic uses what's available. That's part of the point. Capitalism teaches you that you need the best tools, the latest altar supplies, the most aesthetic setup. Punk magic spits in the face of that. Your tools are your rage, your grief, your stolen moments of joy, your voice, your hands, your fucking kitchen drawer. You want to protect your neighborhood? Spray a sigil of resistance on a wall and charge it with your breath. You want to curse a predator? Print a sign with their face and their crimes and distribute it. That's exposure as exorcism. You want to enchant a city? Tape charms to lampposts. Chalk spells into alleyways. Leave offerings for spirits that live in the cracks of the pavement. Graffiti becomes warding. Protest signs become talismans. Flyers become grimoires. We enchant the world not to escape it, but to reclaim it. This is chaos magic with a cause. Folk magic with fangs. Witchcraft sharpened by experience and aimed like a blade. Too much magic is escapism. Too much of it floats in fantasy, divorced from the dirt and sweat of real life. Punk magic doesn't do that. It's rooted. It lives in council flats and squats, in hostels and halfway houses, in punk houses with cracked floors and sticker-covered fridges. It lives in trauma, in recovery, in the bittersweet joy of chosen families and late-night rituals with people who have nothing left to lose. Punk magic builds its power where the cracks already exist. It doesn't need a pristine temple. It thrives in liminal spaces. Bathrooms, rooftops, back alleys, abandoned buildings, punk shows and protest lines and the quiet moment before the first scream, and it listens. It listens to the city spirits, the forgotten gods of concrete and electric wires. It listens to the voices in the static, the ghosts of those the system devoured. It listens to the land beneath the asphalt and the blood beneath the soil. It makes kin with the land as it is, not some imagined fantasy version, but the poisoned rivers, the cursed ground, the haunted buildings. These things speak, and punk magic answers. Who are the spirits of punk magic? Some are old. Hecate, Crossroads Walker, the Morrigan, goddess of war, Lucifer, the light bearer, Prometheus, Lilith, spirits who said no. Some are new, queer martyrs, trans witches, forgotten artists, dead activists who hexed governments with their dying breaths, the egregores of mutual aid and street protest, spirits of uprising, revolt, and radical care. Some of these spirits are invented. Some are digital daemons made to protect servers or feed off surveillance systems. Some are servitors raised in grief and rage, guardians of protest lines, entities born from graffiti tags and collective chants. We don't just worship them, we work with them. We build relationships. We raise our voices alongside theirs and carry their names forward like banners. They are not saints in the way the church defines them. They are saints in the way the streets define them. Brave, broken, burned, alive, and still screaming. Punk magic remembers them, and it calls on them not for comfort, but for courage. Punk magic isn't for the polished or the pure. It doesn't give a fuck about credentials. It doesn't care about how many books you've read or how many crystals you've bought. It's made for people who have nothing left to lose or everything to fight for. It's for the ones who've been told they're too angry, too queer, too poor, too disabled, too weird, too loud, too much. Good. You are exactly enough. Punk magic is not a luxury, it's a lifeline. A way to reclaim power in a world designed to strip you of it. A system for the broken and brave. There's no separation between your magic and your body. Punk magic is embodied witchcraft. Your body remembers every wound and every spell. The trauma you carry is not a curse, it's a key. Your scars are sigils. Your tattoos are wards. Your piercings are talismans. Your pain is not shameful, it's sacred. We don't need tools made of gold and quartz. We work with bones, with ink, with sweat. Our bodies become ritual space. Our voices become conjurations. Movement becomes invocation. A scream is a spell. A laugh is a banishment. A dance in the rain is a ritual of reclamation. This is sex magic that doesn't ask for beauty. It's blood magic that doesn't flinch. It's trance work done in alleyways and mirror portals built from broken glass. It's for people who can't sit still, who don't feel safe in silence, who do their magic with a cigarette in one hand and a shaking fist in the other. The sacred doesn't need to be sterile. Let's talk about ethics. Punk magic doesn't follow cosmic laws designed to keep us docile. We don't believe in a spiritual three-strike system or in karmic points to be earned. We believe in consequences, in responsibility, in knowing what you're doing and owning it. We don't hex out of boredom. We hex when boundaries have been broken, when people abuse their power, when silence is violence, and when justice fails the vulnerable, we step in. Your magic is yours, but don't pretend it's neutral. Every spell takes a side. Every ritual plants a flag. And if your magic never makes the powerful uncomfortable, then maybe you're not doing it right. Ethics in punk magic aren't handed down. They're built in real time, in real life. Is it punching up or punching down? Does it defend the oppressed or uphold the status quo? Does it feed liberation or feed ego? We choose our targets with intention, we strike with focus, and when we protect with everything we've got. Punk magic isn't pacifist, it's principled. Not every spirit belongs in the woods. Some wear leather jackets and smoke cigarettes on rooftops. Some are born of static, graffiti, and concrete. They don't float on clouds, they ride the rails, haunt the drains, glitch through networks. They live in the alleys, in abandoned buildings, in wireless routers and subway tunnels, and they're listening. Punk magic doesn't just borrow from old pantheons, it builds new ones. We create our own egregores, spirits of protest lines and digital resistance, servitors that feed off surveillance and spit it back distorted, allies that live in the crowd, in the spark between the people shouting the same chant in unison, punk daemons made of noise and rage and mutual love. And if we do work with the old gods, we meet them where we are, not as supplicants, but as equals. We don't ask the spirits to save us, we ask the spirits to stand beside us. We're not interested in masters, we want comrades. And yes, there are spirits who walk these streets and ghosts of revolutionaries. The egregores of forgotten movements, the spirits of queer clubs and squatted buildings and cities that no longer exist. They're here, they remember, and they want in. This isn't a tradition you have to be born into. You don't need a lineage, you don't need money. You can start with nothing. That's the beauty of it. Don't have a wand, use a pen. Don't have incense, breathe deep. Don't have a temple, use your room, your rooftop, your bus stop. Punk magic adapts. It scavenges. It survives. Build your grimoire out of zines and song lyrics. Write spells on receipts. Paint your sigils on denim. Keep your altar in a shoebox or on your phone. Use what you have. Use what you are. Punk magic is not about perfection. It's about presence, intent, action. You don't need to know all the theory before you start. You start and then you learn. You make mistakes. You fuck up. You burn it down and rebuild. That's the path. The only rule is that you don't wait. You act. Let's be clear. Punk magic isn't a brand. It's not another occult commodity to be sold back to you with a sticker pack and a curated playlist. It's a bomb. A living system designed to explode in your hands and change your life. This isn't something you consume, it's something you create as a call to action, a dare, a spell disguised as a system. Make zines, share spells, build community, cast together, protect each other, educate each other, rage together, heal together. Burn what needs burning and grow something wild in the ashes. Punk magic is a living, breathing thing, and once you tap into it, you carry it forever. You don't need to join anything, but if you feel that fire in your chest when I speak these words, then you're already one of us. Welcome home. So why am I doing this, proposing this thing called punk magic? Because I'm done. I'm totally sick and tired of all the bullshit going on. I've lived as both a punk and a witch, sometimes loud about it, sometimes quietly. But it's always been there. I'm turning 54 this year, and after a lifetime walking both of these roads, I see now more than ever that they're not separate paths, they're the same fight. Witchcraft is punk. It always was. And I'm tired of seeing people in the magical communities being sold lies and fantasies, wasting their power, their time, and their money on grifters, gatekeepers, and, let's be blunt, neo-Nazis hiding behind veils of mystery and metaphysics. The world is burning and people are casting spells for shiny trinkets instead of liberation. It's time to wake up, to tear away the illusions, to remember that magic was never meant to serve the powerful. It's a weapon for the outsider, a tool for survival, a fire for change. So I'm proposing something new, well, maybe something old, remembered, maybe just rebranded. A fusion of the raw, do-it-yourself defiance of punk with the deep transformative power of magic, Punk Magick, because I'm done waiting, and I think maybe you are too.